I think the biggest issue is that when you look at the dynamics on the ground, there is nothing to suggest that any of the parties are ready to sit down for peace. Houthi does not want to give up any of the military gains that he's made, particularly the capital. He wants to insist on holding the capital and holding Hodeidah because it means that any conditions that are made on the table will allow him to have a greater say or a greater stake in any future government. Houthi doesn't want to actually rule Yemen. Houthi wants to be like Hezbollah of Lebanon. It wants to be the main political power behind the scenes. The problem for the Arab coalition is that to go to the negotiating table now essentially means defeat because they cannot dictate the terms. They've been unable to defeat the Houthis militarily in key strategic points, so they will have to cede these particular conditions to the Houthis. But for the neutral, the problem is even worse, because for the neutral, the problem is this. If you afford Houthi concessions while he is still in Sana'a, and while he is still in Hodeidah, and while he is still in Jawf and Amran and these other cities, even if you have peace, even if you have a government that comes about in which Houthi has the greatest stake, there's nothing stopping Islah or the southern separatists from studying the Houthi model, taking over a few cities, surviving a bombing campaign from, say, Iran or Russia or whoever, and then the UN coming in once more, giving concessions, a new government with them having the highest stake. The problem with Yemen is this. It's a balance between trying to solve the humanitarian crisis and defending the principle of a national dialogue that came to an agreement over a government. Do you protect that democratic style of coming to an agreement over a government, or do you stop the humanitarian crisis at any cost? This is the catch-22 with Yemen. This is why it's such a horrific and such a terrible conflict, because there is no easy solution either way. Moreover, even if you look at Yemen, everybody likes to talk about it as a binary between the Arab coalition and between the Houthis. Yeah. But there are many people who side with neither. They don't agree with the Houthi coup, and they despise the incredible damage that Saudi Arabia has done with the UAE. Anybody who believes that Saudi Arabia has good intentions for Yemen is living in a whimsical world. The Saudi Arabia, remember, it supported the movement against the United Yemen in 1994. The Saudis then propped up Ali Abdullah Saleh and supported him in Yemen in the government later on after they realized that they had failed. Right. Saudi is not a friend to Yemen. But the Houthis also have conducted a military coup. So either way here, you're between a rock and a hard place in Yemen. And Martin Griffiths will not be able to find a breakthrough unless there's a change in the military dynamics.
Incredibly complex, and I'm glad you could explain some of it to us. Sami Hamdi joining us from London.